that you clicked on my thumbnail tells me that you're interested in my story. For that, I say thank you, but I also want to warn you that I am making a short story long today because my channel isn't really about me. It's about y'all. Still, I want you to know how I got here and why. So please take a moment to hit the like button while you're here if you haven't already done so. I'm going to start with high school. I met a young man in high school when I was a junior. He was a sophomore, but we were the same age. He started school a year later because of his birthday. He was a 6'4" basketball player, and he was fine, y'all. I know I'm biased, but that man was fine then, and he is still fine to this day. I was kind of shallow back in high school, but hey, he was my first boyfriend and also my first love. We dated throughout high school and went to the senior prom together. He went away to college out of state, and because my mom was strict and didn't want me to go away to college and feared, that I'd have too much freedom and would end up getting pregnant, I just stayed back in Chicago and I enrolled at a local university. Oh yeah, and I got pregnant. I was finishing up my sophomore year at university when I delivered my firstborn child, my daughter. Although she was not planned, she was very much loved, and of course she is to this day. I didn't know then that you can't take breaks from birth control pills and only take them when your man comes home from school breaks. Well, I am here to tell you, please don't try that. I gave birth to my daughter 1 month before turning 20 years old. Boy, was I glad, because even though I was legally grown when I got pregnant, I was 19 and I just hate having that teen on the end of my age. Back in high school, I was enrolled in a class called Office Occupations. They don't have those classes anymore, unfortunately, but the class teaches you how to be an office worker, how to get a white collar job. So before graduating high school, my instructor helped me get a job working downtown Chicago for the federal government. Yeah, I'm a fat, y'all, but not that type that can do anything to you like law enforcement or anything. I was a white collar office worker. I started out clerking as a typist, then became an executive secretary to one of the agency heads. I skipped past the part about me being a principal scholar in high school and easily getting A's and B's in college, but y'all, I was studious and I love to learn and also to share my knowledge in the form of adult education. Before I graduated college, me and my child's father broke up. We had been high school sweethearts, and although the breakup was mutual, my heart was broken. I was mothering a young child, his child. He was gainfully employed and ended up paying me child support to the tune of $2,000 a month. Well, it was 1,987 to be exact, but who's counting? I ended up moving out and getting my own apartment. And I was easily able to pay my bills with that child support, though I had a job earning a pretty decent amount of money. Despite the fact that he was paying me child support, that man would come over to pick up his daughter anytime he wanted to. No schedule, no prearrangements were necessary. We weren't married, so there was no child visitation schedule in place. She spent weekends and summers with her dad and ended up living with his mother for 2 years while I returned to school to finish my degree, while also working full time. When I think about the LaTruth saga, it's hard for me to imagine how a mother could keep her child away from her father, a provider who loves his child and only wants to give her the world. My child's father would come to my house, go into my fridge, and fix himself a sandwich. He would eat my daughter's dry cereal right out the box, and I had absolutely no problem with it. I love that man. When I met him, and I still love him to this day, especially because we share a child together. I was living over east in the South Shore area of Chicago, and someone ended up breaking into my apartment, y'all. I never felt so violated in my life. It wasn't about the items that they stole. It was more about the fact that I worked to purchase those items and someone picked the lock on my front door and stole every electronic in my apartment while I was at work, including my daughter's custom built PC and her bike that her dad had bought her. When I got home from work, I called my child's father to let him know that someone broke into my apartment, and he immediately said, I'm coming to get my daughter because she cannot live there anymore. To which I replied, well, what about me? He said, you can come too, but my daughter can't live there. Child, I started packing up our bags quick. We both moved in with her father, and not even 1 month later, I met a guy. A man who asked me if I was married before he ever even asked me my name. And I pointed that out to him, and he said, well, if you're married, I don't even want to know your name because I'm looking for a relationship. Yeah, that man had my attention, but how in the hell was I going to tell that man that I live with my child's father, but we're not in a relationship? And so I didn't. I started apartment hunting fast. I wasn't going to let the new guy meet my daughter until I knew that we were going to be in a serious relationship. A few months went by and I had my new apartment in Hyde Park with an empty entertainment center because all my electronics had been stolen from my old apartment. The new guy, who is my husband today, came over for the first time and saw Valentine's Day chocolates and flowers on my table. I told him they were for my daughter from her father, which they were, but I don't think he really believed me because my daughter was only 10 years old at the time. Imagine had I told him that I was living with her father. So I never did. The second time that man came to my apartment, he brought with him a flat screen TV, a VCR, and a stereo. I knew right then he was a keeper. I ended up introducing him to my child and her father. With their approval, we started dating. After 2 years of dating, I asked him what he thought about marriage, and he said to me, well, I don't have a problem with marrying you. To which I replied, well, hold on now. So I got up and grabbed my cell phone and I said, look at this. Here's a calendar for next year. He looked so spooked at that point, but I said, pick a date. He picked a date and we got married on that date. After 7 years of marriage, we had a child together, a son. And then I tied my tubes because, honey, I thought I was already done having kids. So why am I telling y'all all of my personal business? Because my experience with Black men in relationships has been a good one. I have 2 children today, one with my high school sweetheart and the other with my husband. My husband is a good father to both of our children. He actually doesn't like the term stepfather. People try to spin the narrative that good Black men are scarce, and I'm here to tell you that is not the case. There's nothing special about me, and I have run into some really good Black men in my day. I believe you get what you put into a relationship. I was raised in a house full of love with a stepfather who never treated me any different from his biological children. And I am a people person. I love people more than I love money. When I first heard about LaTruth, I came across a YouTube short saying that he had cancer. I was like, oh no, wait a minute, I know him. I've seen his skits with him and his wife. Shortly after that, October 2022 came around, and I see his wife in distress on YouTube, and she was saying that he beat her up and broke her finger. I'm sorry, I think that was on Facebook. Yeah, he was saying that he beat her up and broke her finger. I was so shocked and confused that I said, and I'm not proud of this, y'all. I said to myself, I wonder if cancer is his karma for abusing his wife all those years. You see, I actually believed Brianna's story all the way up to the point to where LaTruth released his recording of the infamous 911 phone call. I was honestly relieved because I felt like LaTruth had pulled the wool over all of our eyes and had us thinking that he was real father gang while living a double life as a monster. My apologies to the truth. I went for the fake tears and I was wrong about him. So, y'all, I went from watching Love and Hip Hop Atlanta to watching Keeping Up with the Latruths faithfully on Facebook. Hell, I didn't even watch Love and Hip Hop anymore because Tamika was bringing us the tea daily, several times a day, even. When Brianna's Bees unveiled who was actually behind the Keeping Up with the Latruths page, Tamika was just about to show us who the church deacon was that Brianna had been creeping around with. I was so disappointed when that page came down, but it was Sweet Ma and Lupac to the rescue. I watched those ladies religiously. I was so glad that Sweet Ma stayed up late because that was my favorite time to watch. Jeannie was trying to bring us the tea on the Facebook side and had us thinking that she came endorsed by LaTruth as his so-called sister. Well, we all know how that turned out. She's studying to be a bee right now, y'all. Somebody said that Nate is catching hell being Jenny's speech therapist, and I damn near fell out. Can you imagine? But anyway, Sweet Ma brought Jaffe up on her panel one day and she told us to follow him on Facebook, which I did. Sweet Ma told Jaffe that he should make his YouTube page the same name as his Facebook page, which he ended up doing reluctantly, but she was really helping him um, start and grow his YouTube channel. So at that point, I was watching Sweet Ma, Lupac, and Jaffe. Then there was Harmony Speaks. After hearing Harmony's sweet, sultry voice in her, hey, y'all know me, dropping in to spread a little tea, I said, you know what? I think I want to be a content creator. Harmony doesn't go live and she manages to stay out the way. So if I ever do create a channel, I'm going to try to stay out the way because Harmony knows exactly what she's doing. I don't recall who was next, but when Retta came on the scene, I used to pour me a glass of Hennessy and watch her live. And if I ever missed her live, I would go back and watch her full replay. It's something about Retta's voice. It might be her New York accent, I don't know, but Retta's voice commands your attention. Retta's approach was different from the others, but to be honest, each one of the content creators have their own style and delivers content from their unique perspective. So Amber Graham entered the scene along with her sisters Alexis and Ebony. Those ladies brought humor to a sad situation of a black man wrongfully accused of DV. Alexis out here doing impersonations of people so well that I can't tell the difference between the real voice or Alexis's voice. She's so talented, y'all. I didn't realize how much I needed that dose of humor after being up late and half drunk watching Red and them. Amber used to always say, leave me alone. At first, I thought she was just being a big crybaby, but Amora even admitted finally that she was purposely picking on Amber and just because. Amora's an evil old lady, or would you call her, Amber? A poor excuse for a man. I swear that one will never get old for me. I honestly don't have a reason, but I never subscribed to Superfans channel. Probably because, they stayed out of the drama. And I ain't gonna lie, that's what I was looking for. But when I heard that they had disassociated themselves from the Queen Step, that is, I was like, oh, well, that's their loss and our gain. Because Queen Step came on the scene popping. She is who she is. Queen Step is raw and she's real. She's a fine example of what you see is what you get. Queen Step was bringing us the tea and teaching our asses how to cook, and she was dancing and entertaining us with funny YouTube shorts covering the saga, but clowning them at the same time. Queen Step, if you're listening, keep doing you, sis. They really don't deserve you. You bring us the facts with receipts, and if y'all ain't never watched Queen Step while you buzz, child, you're missing out. I watched Ashley D for a hot minute until she turned on Sweet Ma, but then I unsubscribed from her channel and I never went back. Until recently, that is, because I'm doing a whole video on that frenemy. But let's not forget about D-Ham and Jaffe, who were the two men that I watched not only defend the truth, but they gave us a male perspective on domestic issues as it relates to DV. After Dham went live and talked about the Jezebel spirit and how Brianna mirrors that behavior, I knew I was going to love his content and did. So I subscribed to him and well. In fact, I subscribed to all the content creators I was watching from the bushes. I know there are a lot more content creators out there, but I wanted to touch on the ones who I was watching from the bushes, the ones who inspired me to emerge from the bushes with a channel of my own. I don't really plan to cover the saga the way they do. I want to enlighten you all about the psychology behind it all. I just told y'all my background. Regardless of whether y'all can identify with my story or not, it doesn't matter. I am an advocate. I consider myself an advocate for the underdogs. I advocate for Black people and for fathers' rights. I pay annual dues to the NAACP and Blacks in Government where I have served as an officer. I donate to organizations like the Congressional Black Caucus, the Black Ensemble Theater, and the Association for Women in Science. I am a person who believes in action. It honestly does speak louder than words. I was raised as an underprivileged child, but I have enjoyed a six-figure income for most of my adult life. GS 14 Step 6 in Chicago. If you know, you know. I own my own business, which took a hit during COVID, but I am still standing. I came to YouTube because I'm opinionated, highly opinionated, like Upper Echelon. She speaks with confidence, and Upper has that you really don't want to try me attitude. Also, like Upper, I'm an intellectual, and I say that with all modesty. In fact, I consider myself to be sapiosexual, and it only means that I'm primarily attracted to intelligence instead of physical appearance or personality. So, now that you know a little bit about me, I hope you will understand that my support of the truth comes from a genuine space, and there is no hidden agenda in my decision to become a content creator. Watching the content creators provide their commentary regarding the saga liberated me to want to add my voice and value as well. So, if there's a moral to the story, it's that you never really know who's watching or who you might inspire. My name is Nikki, and I come in peace. Thank you to all of you who watch my content and who have subscribed to my channel. Keep watching, y'all, because I have plenty more to say. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.